Hello everybody, Dave Neal here. In today's video, we're discussing the Chatty Broads, their talk with regards to Reality Steve, their interview with Jenna Cooper and also Jade, the collateral damage that they face due to Reality Steve's reporting on misinformation and where he stands with his credibility, and how do we differentiate between spoilers and just drama that's going to wreck someone's personal life. So we'll sift through it all. Of course, Chatty Broads had mentioned me in this clip, so I'll talk about that after they play it. And then we'll just continue to go down the list here. I'm very happy that this podcast episode of theirs got to talk with the ladies themselves and hear straight from their voice, which is so important sometimes. You know, you can see it in writing, but to hear from their voice and their heart how they feel they were treated because of Reality Steve. And part of the problem too with regards to all media in general, but specifically here. And I like to talk about Bachelor because, like, I don't follow different Bachelor podcasts. I get the news kind of like you guys do. I get it on Reddit. Other people source it. But for me, like, I'm a progressive guy. I watch my progressive news. I go do stand-up comedy, and I see the issues with the media. I see the issues with stories being not reported as the facts that they are, but I see them being kind of weighted down by someone's opinion. And with Reality Steve, he's got several different things going on. And maybe this worked, but when his platform wasn't as big as it is now, but he's got basically some facts, some opinions, and he puts them together. And when it comes from that perspective, there's going to be a bias there that might affect people. So he's not just reporting like, this is what so-and-so said about so-and-so. He's saying so-and-so did this because this was in their past. And he kind of puts the pieces together without, it's almost like doing a puzzle without having the picture. Next thing you know, he looks like he's got a Picasso here and he's like, all right, that's the answer. That's what I came to. And it's like, all right there, Sherlock Holmes. Like, this is dangerous. These are people's lives. You know, he's very lucky, I think. And I think we all are, that Bachelor Nation hasn't had more issues with fallout from characters and people getting their sort of character ruined. You know, you look at Brittany Galvin from this past season of The Bachelor. Brittany Galvin was sort of outed, and again, this wasn't Reality Steve, this was the actual show, you know, saying that, could there be a sex worker in the house? Wouldn't that be damning? And by even thinking about it and not addressing it right away, they let this rumor sort of become this wildfire, and then by the time she was able to say, no, I'm not, that's not me, it was too late. Everyone already has their opinions. Her Google search history is wrecked. And there's a lot of problems. We need to deal with this in a sensitive way. Moving forward, there needs to be some sort of code about what is shared, what's not. Not just vetting sources. Just because something's true and exists doesn't mean it needs to be shared on certain platforms. We'll get into all that. Let's play a clip right here from the Chatty Broads podcast, which came out yesterday.
When he's saying he's seen receipts of text messages between Matt and Rachel and receipts of the plane ticket, I mean, that's neither here or there. Who cares? They're hanging out again anyway, which, don't worry, we'll be talking about that, Broads. But that's neither here nor there. Regardless, like, you should probably not, and this is not being petty, this is just like, so maybe we don't ruin people's lives like Jenna, we should probably take his individual reporting with his individual verification with a grain of salt.
And then when you combine this with all of the biases and the misogyny that we read in the past, and again, I'm not saying that someone can't change. The hope is always that someone changes. That's always the hope and desire. I say this about myself. My hope is that I grow and I always am getting better. And held accountable to the mistakes that I've made. But the problem is when you combine those past posts with what happened with Demi, with the way in which, I'm sorry, but he immediately contacted you and there was a lot of aggressive back and forth immediately. That was the initial reaction.
Yeah, not even back and forth, just aggressive forth.
Yes.
I sent like 3 5-word texts back to him.
All of those combined now within seeing these receipts from Jenna Cooper where he said passionately he knew for a fact, and you're seeing, we'll get into it. All of these things combined to me just go, okay.
And look,
I get that everybody wants their spoilers. I totally get that. I get that people want to talk about this. It's reality TV. It's fun. It's exciting. People like the spoilers. But I think, are there other people we could get them from in the future? Are there other sources? And even if you decide to keep engaging with Reality Steve, again, it's just this perspective to have that when he says something, again, to have all these things in mind, to either maybe take it with a grain of salt, have more perspective when you're, going through his certain posts or whatever, and just remember these things. And again, I'm saying this as much to everyone as I am to myself, just recalling all of those times that I read things and just said, oh,
yeah, and
he's right, fact.
Yeah, and like you said, I think if people want to keep going to his blog, whatever, I think that posting the photos that people send him in about like Matt and Rachel, for instance, I think that and this is his career, like it or not. I think that his responsibility with this is probably to not do that whole thing of I've seen the receipts, I know.
Yeah.
So in a typical news organization, if a journalist is caught either fabricating a source or not having the right sources or not vetting the source, basically if the source ends up kind of being a dud, the journalist is strike one, blackballed from journalism. Done. They have to be, because the credibility is the only thing that journalism has. If you don't have credibility, done. Now, in today's world, you'll see news organizations that kind of will stretch truths, or they'll say unnamed sources, like Us Weekly will do every single unnamed source says, and it's what are we even talking about here? So I understand that it's gotten to that kind of level, but there is collateral damage there. And with regards to Reality Steve, he doesn't have an editor. He doesn't have his platform will exist regardless of whether or not his sources turn out to be fake, and that has survived and it will continue to survive. He's not going to lose his job as it stands now, because it's a job he created and he built. On a side note, I think that's great for everyone to know for their own personal lives, is to build equity in your own company. That way you can't just be offed for any reason. Now, that doesn't mean he shouldn't have any sort of backlash there. That's just the facts of the matter, guys. The facts of the matter is he built his blog up brick by brick, and you can't just pull out Tide pen as an advertiser, or OxyClean, or whoever's advertising. It's a lot of different things. So he cannot be violating all the terms and agreements from Google, AdSense, or whatever it is that whoever it is that pays his bills, but have a moral issue. So it's not about signing a petition to get him off the air or whatever. You just can't cancel him like he's an Entertainment Tonight news host. But I think by putting him kind of in this position, in this hot seat, it'll help him learn hey, this is wrong. Not only is it wrong, you're getting a lot of people talking about it. And I think that's good. So when they said, people change, we want people to change. Just because he changed the way he writes his opinions about different scenarios doesn't mean that the Demi issue is not going to happen. You change, you go up one rung of a ladder at a time. I'm not making excuses for him whatsoever. I'm just saying one shouldn't be surprised, even though I think a lot of people were. One shouldn't be surprised that he went from the way he wrote his blog posts, which we'll get into what he said with with Jade, and then all of a sudden there's other things happening behind the scenes. That's no surprises there. You don't just go from zero to monk, you know what I mean? And I don't think they want him to be anything more than decent. I don't think they're asking for too much.
He needs to stop doing that. His credibility was so like I said, seeing the proof that Jenna forwarded me.
Mm-hmm.
His credibility on that particular type of reporting is fucked forever, for me at least, and honestly it should be for everyone else. That's what I'm saying. So if he wants to just repost little Rachel makes it to the end, here's them hanging, I say someone sent me a photo of this, but the whole thing, like you said, Victoria F, I've seen emails, I've talked on the phone with people that say that she slept with their boy. He should not be doing any of this, and we should not be believing any of it.
I agree.
That's the shit to me. And that's, like I said, petty personal stuff aside, even the misogyny and sexual harassment aside, his reporting credibility with that whole thing, when he's the only person vetting and interviewing and doing exchanges, should not be trusted. Should not, point blank.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And off of that though, too, I'm thinking all my mind that all of a sudden was spinning, going he has the sole monopoly in this game in the Bachelor world. And I'm like, maybe it's time to start sending spoilers and tea to someone else.
Us. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
We don't
please,
want to
I
hold
do
that
not
burden.
want to do not start sending me that stuff. I don't want to know. But no, there are people like there are things like Bachelor Nation Scoop. There's this guy that I found on YouTube named Dave Neal, who's awesome. Like there's a bunch of other people that if you dig, you can find, but he has this monopoly, which again creates the power dynamic that does bring the discomfort of the other contestants from Bachelor Nation. It adds to the power dynamic big time that he has monopoly of this franchise when it comes.
That's it, folks. Awesome Dave. That's awesome. No, I've never been described as awesome. I'll tell you what. That's you can think of a few like strange, eccentric, awesome, not so much, but I appreciate it. Look, I mean, like I said before, if I'm the CW, then he can be CBS Nightly News or whatever the case may be. It might be a bad analogy, but the idea is that that's a good point that there are more people out there with voices. You got the black Bachelorettes. I always mess that up. You know, they should mentioning them as far as like having a counter voice to what you might get from like the white producers. You know, like having the diversity say like, hey, no, this is why X, Y, and Z is wrong, and then you go, oh yeah, you know, I never even thought about it like that. So the idea and the benefit of the doubt that we all can change, that we all can like see things from a different perspective is good. That's the positive with social media. The positive with hearing other people's voices is that we can understand that, oh, just because I thought this way my whole life, educated, sort of smart, awesome. Wow, but that actually is a kind of a bigoted, or that is kind of a creepy, or that is kind of a closed-minded. And then you start to realize, oh yeah, there's more out there. You know, there's more. You know, it's funny. I'm on a text thread with the guys I studied abroad with. These guys from all over the world. I'm the American. We got a bunch of Europeans, Central Americans, all over the world, and some other places. And it's great to like bounce things off each other because we come from such different places in life. And that's a good thing. That's good to have that diversity, you know? And when it's a monopoly, bad things happen. When you have the power to say, this is what happened, I saw the proof, everyone's going to run with that. Now, the sort of anxiety-inducing fear I have is the same one that they had, where they go, no, don't send us spoilers. We don't want that sort of power. And I'm sort of the same way. But don't get me wrong. Like, I will post things if I deem them right, and I will bounce them off other people. I'll bounce them off bachelornation.scoop on Instagram, because I don't think that one person should have that control, which might sound stupid, but it's like if someone sends you like a dearth of info about someone and you go, is this even worth reporting? Like, was Victoria Fuller worth reporting? Even if she was a homewrecker, does that mean she can't now find love? No, obviously, if I'm marrying someone, I don't want to know that they cheated on all these things. You know, obviously, someone's past does play a part into it, but, it's their past for a reason, because they want to do better. I mean, now she's like, what does she say? She's a born-again virgin. Not to say that you need to be a born-again virgin to prove yourself. That's a completely different story here. But it does make you wonder, like, all right, his reporting was taken as fact. Now it should be taken with like an asterisk. Okay, just because you say you have a source that was vetted, just because you know that so-and-so, just because you have the leaked photos of something. I would love nothing more than the leaked photos of Rachel Kirkconnell and Matt James in New York City. I'd love to be the first one to have those photos, but I also don't mind getting them half an hour later. Like, I don't mind being in second place here. So whatever the case may be, my DMs are open. Instagram, I mean, absolutely. But would I have gone on Instagram Live and done the grace part? Maybe not, because I don't know what went down with that. And after watching Reality Steve and Grace, I did form an opinion that was more anti-Matt James. And the more I look at it, the more I go, man, we know nothing about that relationship. We know nothing about the conversations they've had. We know nothing about what they've agreed to, like nothing. And yet here we are on our lifeguard tower, looking down on them saying, you shall not, it's like, yikes. And I was guilty of doing that 10 days ago. You know what I mean? So we're going to continue to critically think and let The Bachelor be a small little example of how we can do better at media literacy. Reading things, listening, watching. understanding what's going on, not taking one source as the be all end all, understanding people's biases, and then formulating our own opinion. I'll continue to do my best. I will continue to get it wrong. I will get it right. A broken clock's right twice a day. I will understand that I'm not perfect. Am I awesome? I don't know. I annoy my fiance once in a while. I'm okay. It's my birthday on Thursday. By the way, I wanted to shout out for the 30,000 live stream. I get these once in a while. People send me these Venmos, and I'm not asking anyone to do this. I am not. I'm just saying thank you so much to Luis because only a year ago I was posting people that send me Venmos because I was getting like $2, $3, and they'd be like, "Oh, I can go get the guacamole at Chipotle now." It kind of became an inside joke. "Oh, here's a few extra bucks for some guacamole at Chipotle," and then people kept on donating, and I kept sharing it, and now it's at a point where I can't. Sorry, I dropped my pen. I can't share every donation I get because it's overwhelming. But I read them all, I respond, and I thank you guys so much for all that. It really has been amazing, as you guys know, just by the pandemic with all the issues we've had with it, lost my job and other issues. Getting to do this every day has been therapy for me. And I know people that send me photos that they watch my videos while they're at the gym, that they watch them while they're going through different issues. And that, someone said, I feel like a flatmate to them. And I said, just don't make me pay rent. You know what I mean? So there are people that feel like we're having a conversation together. And I appreciate that so much. I do. I really appreciate that so much. Everything I've always wanted. I grew up when I was younger with a single mom and my sister, and they were always fighting, and I was always kind of like alone tinkering, playing with Legos. Like I always just wanted friends, which you forget to see. You can see me as a certain, this or that, but you forget to see the inner child in people. And like I always just wanted friends, and I still feel that way. I just want friends. I like having friends, not for the sake of just having them, but I know I've got Jen in Canada and Oz the moderator, and I got Leah in Michigan and a whole bunch of people in Florida, and there's people in Dominica. They're all over the place, and I love to triangulate you guys and know that you guys got my back and you're here to comment, and it really feels like a community. I mean, the live stream is bananas supportive. Bananas. I did want to play a few more clips from this. I know we're kind of running late on time here. It's getting a little bit longer, but there was a clip from the 45-minute mark. I wouldn't be doing this video justice if I didn't at least tease these clips. Now, of course, this video is worth watching in its entirety. Don't take what I'm showing you as like the be all end all. This is just a clip. Now, of course, trigger warning. I'm not always good about sharing trigger warnings. I'm still learning about how it all works and like telling people in advance, but Jade's going to talk about her sexual assault and how it felt to have Reality Steve report on that. So here, let's play this.
And then he also took it a step further because he then associated your choice and your bodily autonomy doing the Playboy shoot with an instance where your bodily autonomy was taken from you, like during a sexual assault. And that was just also so out of pocket and next level to do too, is to say like, now I understand.
Rationalizing a nude photo shoot because I was raped as a teenager is like the most like far off thought that anyone could have. Like the two are very far apart, being sexually assaulted stays with you the rest of your life. It is something that changes you. And so for that to be taken, and like I said, I just felt like he was just like turning things into this narrative and then like explaining it away in his own words. It was just like, you have like no idea, like the stuff that women who are sexually assaulted anyway, what that does to you forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did it feel like for you to, after your experience with him and what he wrote, for him to continue doing what he does and being kind of like the monopoly of the one voice in Bachelor Nation? Like, how has that felt for you over the past years?
Yeah, that influences the public opinion about individuals.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand, like, when Demi said, like, he does have this like power over us in the way that a lot of Bachelor Nation contestants are afraid to probably like stand up to him or anything like that, because he can just like try to find dirt on you or play a narrative about you. And I think what's been hardest for me, which I do know people change, and that's like all about like what life is about, is progressing to be better people.
Yes.
What's been hard for me is to watch him try to be like, his Instagram bio has a quote from Olivia Creedy that says, "The champion of everyone." And I was like, that's really hard for me to look at when I have never really received a genuine apology from you. You know,
Never received a genuine apology. And again, he did apologize a bit for all of his past and this and that. But you know, to give the platform to the people that were affected, you know, only thousands of people are going to get to hear this, whereas the initial reporting was something that sculpted a way bigger opinion about these people. So 104, let's go to this clip right here, and then we'll get out of here. But I just wanted to give these ladies the credit they deserve. And of course, with regards to the Jenna Cooper one, he posted these screenshots and the evidence that he had that she was cheating on Jordan Kimball. Now, might have been the best decision that ever, might have been the best thing that ever happened to her, in the sense that she's not with Jordan Kimball, but it doesn't change the fact that it still wrecked her image within Bachelor Nation. And also, you can't even begin to understand how much money was lost from not being a fan favorite, from not being able to monetize. You know, it's one thing to monetize being likable from the show. It's another thing to be on the show and then get nothing out of it. You know, when ABC continues on, it's like, they don't care about Jenna Cooper. They care about Katie Thurston. They're on to the next one. So let's play a quick clip and give this lady the justice I think she deserves.
It's really important to talk about it as someone who's like reporting and informing people's opinions of individuals' characters on the show. Like posting spoilers is one thing, you know, reposting photos of people together. That's another thing. But what was really crazy to me was like, you forwarded me like the proof that he was going off of.
Or some of it, like,
okay.
Yeah, yes, there were things that I showed you that I do think he definitely took into account when publishing, or because the reason is because some of the tweets that came out later, such as, you know, I think her bleach job soaked into her head, or she's the mayor of Crazy Town, that kind of stuff. That stuff did come after the thing, what I sent to you, which was very much not true, and pretty much was able to vet that it wasn't true. So I think that sucks. But the original, you know, email, phone call, he says he doesn't have a name. All of that is gone. So there's really, you know, I hate that. I wish that I had that to compare to the information we have now. But yeah, what you saw has got to make you question, right? So why not in his position not come out and say, I know it's not true, you know, I was wrong, right? Because he doesn't have all the proof, but why not say, there are some kind of holes in the story, you know, I'm not sure, maybe I shouldn't have just jumped the gun right away, basically by like emails. And then he told me later that it was a phone call that he had that was very convincing. And to say something like that can obviously destroy somebody's life, just from a little bit of information and some of it being questionable, like that just sucks. Like I'm not mad at him. It just, no matter who it was or what situation, I can't understand like why somebody would do that, except for, I guess it's interesting, you know, a lot of people want to talk about it. And
yeah. And what we were saying though, what was crazy is like saying one, like you said, it's interesting. You could say something like, I've heard rumors, whatever, that this person like has a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
That sucks that it's not true. But like I said, I and other people trusted when he said, I've seen the proof and like, I know beyond a doubt. And the way that he was so blatantly like mocking everything that you were saying, it really led everyone in the public to believe. I mean, this was blasted everywhere, wasn't it? Like on OK and E! News.
Yeah, so that's the problem, right, guys? Go watch the rest of the video, or please, the whole video, or audio, wherever you find the Chatty Broads podcast. But yeah, the idea that like what what he said, and it's lazy journalism by Us Weekly. It's lazy journalism by anyone who's going to create stories without doing their vetting. And that's kind of the problem. When someone makes an initial claim, everyone else gets to run off that claim, including myself. So it's going to be important if we do see claims to look at it and go, unless we see that source, unless we understand that multiple people we trust, and that's, we're moving to a society, I believe, where rather than trusting CNN or trusting Fox News, you're going to trust one Lester Holt. That's if I don't get my news from Lester Holt, I don't believe it. For me personally, it's Crystal Ball. I love Crystal Ball, The Hill. That's where I get my news. Progressive news source. If Crystal Ball says something, I'm going to trust her because she has proven time and again to have a critical eye on how she digests information, and I trust her. Now, if I found out that she lied about a bunch of things or had corporate money or this or that, I'd be like, all right, well, I got to go find someone else. And we're kind of moving to that Yelp society of where we consume our info. At least we should be. Gone are the days where it's like, well, if ABC posted, then that's what I believe. Well, you know what? ABC did that interview with Colton Underwood, and they botched the hell out of it. Not because they asked the wrong questions, but the questions they didn't ask. And I've made enough videos about that, but you got to understand, while we sift through the news, we need to hold back on our opinion until we've got enough to share that. If you guys haven't watched the show Newsroom, it's a fantastic fictionalized show about a newsroom. Jeff Daniels is amazing. Who would have thought? The Dumb and Dumber guy. So good. So good. Love Jeff Daniels. But they're holding on to stories, and they're just waiting to get that second source. They can't post something until they get that second source because one just isn't enough. I mean, you get things like the Russian dossier and real botch jobs that are happening in the American public, in the political system and the news media system, because people are running with stories where they don't have all the information. The least we can do is figure things out, especially if it's David versus Goliath. And in this case, Goliath is reality Steve. David is these characters who at the time probably go on the show. They don't have their own lawyer. They don't have their own platform. It's his word versus mine. So it's just going to be important as we move forward to keep a close eye on anything that will cause collateral damage with these contestants, to not see them as above us because they're on some TV show. Understand that they're humans too. I've made my past mistakes in some of the ways I've poked fun at contestants, sexual innuendos, misogyny. Absolutely won't hide from that. Not at all. The question is, where do we go moving forward? As a comic, you go, all right, I want to make fun of things. All right, I want to make fun of things. I want to be irreverent. I want to find the humor in different situations. I just need to understand that the common denominator isn't if one person gets more filler in their lips or breast implants or whatever the case may be. That's not the punch. Someone's body isn't going to be the punchline. Doesn't mean it hasn't been in the past. It means moving forward, we're going to try to do better. All right, guys. Well, let me know what you think. Leave a comment. More videos coming 4 p.m. Thursday, birthday live stream. Thanks again for all the donations, support, and love. I appreciate all of you guys. See you out there.